Here we go. Ladies and gents, it's absolutely fantastic to be with you all this afternoon. How do you feel? Do you feel good? Oh, that good, hey? Right. Well, I'm going to put paid to that, okay? Look, we're going to have a little think about this. We're going to have a little think about the fact that life is a gamble. And every single solitary day, we get out of bed, don't we, and we roll the dice. We don't really think about the risks. Who thinks about the risks? None of us do. We get in our cars, we hare along at the speed limit. We don't consider the risks. Unless maybe you're getting a lift with Gareth, then you consider the risks, I promise you. You really, truly do. But here are all these risks. So, here's the thing. I started work at MAB something like 10 months ago. I live near Tewkesbury, and I commute in on the train, sometimes in the car. And I thought what I'd do is take a little bit of video, okay, of the sorts of risks that people are taking every day. Perhaps they're not aware of it, but let's just have a look and see what really is going on in life on my commute on the way to Derby.
Oh boy, I'm lucky. I'll say I'm lucky. This is my lucky day. I'm all in clover. I'm glad all over. I want to shout hooray. I found a horseshoe, couldn't go wrong. And then of course you happened along. Oh boy, I'm lucky. I'll say I'm lucky. This is my lucky day. I'll say I'm lucky. This is my lucky day. I'm all in clover. I'm glad all over. I want to shout hooray. I found a horseshoe, couldn't go wrong. And then of course you happen along. I'll say I'm lucky. This is my lucky. Oh, wow, I'm lucky. This is my lucky
day. It's perfect. Now look, quite clearly, that last scene wasn't anywhere near Derby. It was Birmingham. So there we are. Look, let's get ourselves into Las Vegas, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about risks. So what you've got to do for me, this is ever so straightforward. Can you please think in your mind of, and I'm not just looking at you here, but I've decided to, can we all think in our minds of a number between 1 and 36? Have you all done that? It's ever so straightforward, isn't it? You've got a number in your mind between 1 and 36. Just say it to yourself in your mind. You've got it. Okay, let's spin this wheel. See what happens here. So, look, we've got a couple of chips that have landed. We've got number 21, I think, there, and we've got number 28. If you have thought of one of those numbers, can you put your hand way into the air? Okay, so I can probably see in this room there might be about 10 people, something like that. I can't see anything up there. Are there people up there? I've no idea. But down here I can see about 10 people, I think. Now, you haven't won a prize, Okay, this is not a hug situation. This is what we're looking at. What we're looking at here, and this is where it gets a little bit alarming, is the statistical chance, right, of somebody age 40 taking out a mortgage today over 25 years of dying during that time. And the 10 people who put up their hands, right, do not worry. It's not a prophecy. It's not an omen. But the point is, in this room, there are people who put up their hands. And in this room, there's the equivalent approximately of every 4 days the number of mortgages that we sell. And who in this room can say which of us will end up putting up our hands? Because some of us will. Don't you think? We're not immune from these things. Well, okay, let's play this again. So let's clear the board. You can see where this is going. So think of another. You can think of another number. You can think of the same number. This is as exciting as it gets, right? So think of a number. Have you got a number in your mind? Let's spin this thing again. Let's see what goes on. What are we going to get this time? We've got number 9, we've got number 12, number 18, number 20, number 21, and we've got number 26. Put your hands in the air, big time, in the air, so I can see those people. Now, there's quite a lot more, clearly, because we put more counters there. There could be at least 20, maybe 30 people now, maybe even more, looking at hands at the back there. There's people now, a lot more, putting their hands in the air. What is this talking about? This is talking about this same 40-year-old, right, taking out a mortgage today over 25 years, has got a 15% chance of getting a critical illness during those 25 years. And more hands go up. We just don't know which hands are going to go up, do we? So what else have we got? Here we are. Let's clear this board again. Now, this one, let's roll it. Let's see what happens. Keep your number in your mind. Let's see what happens on this. Now, look, this one, we've got numbers all over the place. We've got loads of numbers. We've got number 3, number 7, number 9, number 12, number 13, number 16, number 18. We've got number 20. Look, if you can see it, I'm not going to read them out. You can see it. Put your hand in the air if you can see this. This is the statistical chance, according to the Office of National Statistics, of somebody being off work more than two months during this mortgage period. It's a lot of chips on the table. The last one that we're going to do, and you need to stand up for this one when we get to it. So think of a number, any number between 1 and 36. You can change your mind. It doesn't really matter. It'll all work just as beautifully. Whatever you do, you can't sort of bypass the system. So here we are. Look, let's run this. Let's run it again. So this time, what I want you to do, if your number is up there with a counter on it, can you please just stand up? Okay, so if you're number 3, if any of those numbers, say, what's this? 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21, 25, 26, 29, 31, or 32. I can see you now up there. This is lovely. Guys, look at these people stood up. Do you recognize them? They're real human beings. These are human beings, not all of you age 40, I can see that. But it's you guys that are stood up that statistically are likely to claim on one of those 3 things is going to happen. To a 40-year-old, you're either going to die, you're going to get critical illness, you're going to be off work long-term sick. This is what it's about. Please sit down. It's powerful. This is real life that's going on. This is happening in front of our eyes. So here's the message. Here's one of the messages that I'm going to give you, and that is this. We need to ensure that all these bases are covered. You don't know when you see the customer what's going to happen to them in their lives, do you? You haven't got a crystal ball. You don't actually know. But what we need to do is ensure that we create protection portfolios that cover all of the bases. That's one of the messages. But what I'm going to do now, we're going to have a little look at a video of custom. Well, let's press on because I've just remembered what's coming up next. Let's put this on the screen. Okay, we'll do a little video after this. This look is what we've put in place. So here we've got those exact stats that I took straight off Midas. So there's the risk of death, there's the risk of suffering critical illness. There's a risk of being off work for more than 2 months. That's the data that we just put onto that exact roulette table wheel. So here we go. Now, I know what we've done here is push this out to you and said, look, here's a screen, here's some stats. And many advisors say to me, yeah, these stats are okay, but I don't really know how to use them. I don't know how to, I'm selling protection regardless of these stats. I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to show you in 3 simple steps how using this information will transform your protection sales. Okay, you ready for this? 3 simple things. Remember what I'm about to tell you. This is how a mortgage advisor should introduce protection, and it is not mentioning the word protection. The first thing that you do, and this is so simple, you just say to the customer, look, on your mortgage documents here, it says that your home is at risk if you don't keep up the repayments on your mortgage. Is that what it says? Pretty much that. So say to the customer, please tell me, what could stop you keeping up the repayments on this mortgage? Don't talk. The customer thinks. Their brain starts engaging. Do you know what they'll say to you? They'll say things like, yeah, I could lose my job, I could fall off a ladder, I could be in a car crash. They'll say things in their own language and in their own way to you. And get a blank sheet of paper, exactly like Hamish says, and write them all down. If you sat there with them, write them down one after the other. They'll say all sorts of things. Write them down. Fine. Okay, Mr. Customer, yeah, I can understand those things could stop you, most definitely, keeping up the payments on your mortgage. The question is, though, what's the chance that they're going to happen? Have you any idea what chance there is of these things happening? They might say, yes, I read the Office of National Statistics the other day, and I've actually worked out the exact calculation. I've got a 4% chance of this happening. And, of course, that isn't going to happen. Most of them won't have a clue. So you say, well, the good news is, for you, I've actually done a bit of research coming in from the Office of National Statistics. I'm operating with you, you know, maybe not in front of a computer, so I use this, or maybe I'm in front of a computer and I use this. Now, here's the next step. That's just step 1. Step 2 is, don't talk about these as percentages. Talk about them, turn the percentages into people. So you say to the customer, look, this is telling me that 4 people out of 100 people, believe it or not, would die during the same mortgage term as you. It's nuclear, yeah, but 4 people out of 100, that's going to happen. 15 people out of 100 people will get some sort of critical illness. 34 people out of, and you see how it goes on. And this is converting the percentages into people. The next step is, once you've done that and there's some sort of discussion, and this is the most crucial bit of the lot, is to turn those figures into faces. Is to say to your customer that sat in front of you, look, if these figures are true, and I've got no reason to doubt them, they come from the Office of National Statistics, okay? But if these figures are true, you should know somebody where this has happened. Somebody, let's say, before retirement, has either died, unlikely because it's nuclear, but actually there might be some who've had some sort of cancer, heart attack or stroke. There might be some that have been off work for more than 2 months sick. And if you think about your immediate family, your uncles, aunts, cousins, brothers, sisters, if you think about people at work, if you think about people down at the school gate, do you know anybody where this has happened? Now I ask you that question, you're my customers right now. Please put your hand in the air if you know anybody that before retirement something like this has happened. And this is what's going to happen with your customers. They will say yes. They'll say, oh yeah, I do, yeah, I do, yeah. Don't say, oh, that's good, because that isn't good to say that. You say, oh, good, that's brilliant, because you'll buy protection. No. Look a little bit somber. Oh, right. And do you know what the next question is? Who? Who are you thinking about? What happened? And they'll tell you a story. And all that's happening is they're replaying in their minds something that's happened to them in their lives. And ladies and gents, that is exactly where we want to get them, is to think about it themselves. We haven't said the word protection. We haven't said the word anything to do with policies. We need to talk to you about life insurance policies. We haven't. They've told us the risks, and on we go. We've shown them some figures, but life assurance is a gamble. Critical illness is a gamble, and if you're going to gamble on anything, you have to know the odds. Can you sell protection without it? Yes. But can you sell a lot more, and is it more secure if you do what I'm telling you? I promise you it makes a massive, massive difference. Embed it in to your process. And here's the video I was going to show you just before. The video coming up now are real human beings in a high street, mainly in the UK, quite recently, where we have shown them the risk reality on an iPad and asked for their views. These are just like normal people. Here we go. Let's have a look at it.
Think, well, it's all right, I'll coast along and life's fine. But yeah, absolutely, when you start seeing risks and you hit a certain age.
Now looking at this, I'd certainly look at getting insurance.
I think looking at the results, I would definitely have a conversation with my other half about it and check, like I say, what he's got in place.
It's like one of those jobs that you never get around to doing, isn't it? It's at the bottom of the list, so it's probably like checking how much you're paying for your internet.
For the sake of a small sum a month, getting that kind of in place, getting the cover in place and getting that kind of insurance is worth that small amount of money. So my views have changed. The conversation I'll have tonight is probably going to be slightly different, and I probably, sometime in the next couple of weeks we'll be taking, probably actually get around to taking it out, just because, I've seen these numbers now, and it's kind of given this real world realization about the risks that of me dying or her dying, and the impact it could have.
My views have changed. This is what happens when we go through this exercise. People say, oh, well, it's only a small percentage. They won't buy life cover. This is why life cover is so cheap, for goodness sake. Rabbit insurance is more expensive than life insurance, but it's nuclear if it happens. So we need to talk about it. And that's why we embedded this into the process. We didn't really tell you how to put it across. That's why I'm doing it now. And we said, look, let's track this through over 28 days. Let's make sure that every single solitary customer gets the same level of service with MAB and this discussion that I'm talking to you about. It is simple. It is straightforward. And there's been some absolutely amazing results from real life advisors. And I'm going to show you one whose office is just round the corner from here at Taylor's. And this is Gareth Love, who has embedded this into his business. Where is Gareth Love? He's real. There he is. I can even see him there. And we've digitally enhanced you, mate, to look like this.
The new protection process has been absolutely fantastic. A couple of years ago, we were the cliche firm that relied on the new business coming in for mortgages, charging a fee, and if we picked up some protection off the back of that, then fantastic. The new protection process is forcing the advisor to have the conversation with the client, and particularly the risk screens mean that the clients then want to have the conversation with us. So because we're doing that, the whole element of advice around protection, the conversation's happening. When the conversation happens, we sell more. It's that simple. If clients are understanding what the risks are, what their needs are, it's just for the advisor to bridge the gap. The Day 28 review has been really strong for the firm because as a company we meet with our advisors as a group every week. One of the reports we look at are the 28-day deadlines. We have a process in place that if an advisor has not discussed that in-house, if they've not discussed that within 14 days, they have one more opportunity to get that appointment booked in before we'll pass it for another advisor to do. So currently we have zero outstanding clients that haven't been spoken to within that time frame. We've tripled our protection sales in the last 9 months. In terms of our sort of mortgage to life ratios, we're sitting at about 75% penetration for that. And that's come solely from having more conversations. And I suppose it's a lot like the lead negotiators in the estate agency offices. If you're having the conversation with people, you're going to sell more. It really is that straightforward.
There's White Gates, there's Gareth Love, or as I now say, Love Gareth. I mean, it's fantastic what you've done with that, and it's been replicated across the business. Here, I've now got an inbox with positive emails from the process. Is Kate Fuller here? I haven't seen Kate. Where's Kate? Talk to me, Kate. Don't talk to me, Kate. Kate, she's too busy on the protection process, making it work for her. But she sent me this lovely email, my protection penetration. People talk to me about their penetrations now, which is lovely. For the whole of 2017, was 23.1%. This is how accurate Kate is. I love it. So far in 2018, it's increased to 40.4, with March at 57.1. She's going up like a train. All I can say is thank you, I love you, and things like that, which is fantastic. Kate Fuller, business principal that isn't here. But look, this is happening around the business. Put it into your process. I promise you it works. Now, look, One of the things that I would say at this point is that we are about to put all of this process into KPIs and throw it into Sharon Trinder's risk profiler. We've given ourselves, us included, time to get used to it and understand it. And in June, we're going to throw it into the risk profiler. And you don't want points in the risk profiler because points don't make prizes in the compliance world. It's pain, it's purgatory, avoid it, okay? So we're going to start dropping it in and we're going to start seeing what happens there. But ultimately, this is what's coming next. I wanted to tell you very quickly in the last 2 seconds what is coming down the track. Because it isn't the end of the journey. This bit that we've put in is just the start of it all, okay? So some things that are happening. One of the things that's happening is that I'm very conscious that we launch this system. You look at the system and think, well, yeah, it's great. Yeah, I understand. But, how do I approach it? What do I actually say to customers? How does it really work? Because the technology doesn't do that bit. So what we're going to do is come round the region starting in July. They're all booked in. We're going to advertise them very, very shortly. Throughout July into August, some protection, masterclass, sales, training sessions. I promise you they will transform your business. It's not a scattergun approach. We're going to show you the process start to finish, of which little elements I've touched on. But if you embrace it, it will transform. Even those of you up here, I think we can nudge up to here. So there's lots that's going to be going on in terms of actual sales training coming out to the regions. The next thing that's also going to come out is something called CI Expert. Some of you use CI Expert already. We've already built that into the suitability letter. So you can now reference CI Expert within the suitability letter. But I've been talking with Alan Lakey & Co. and we've done an exclusive MAB deal. It's going to be optional. You don't have to play the game with CI Expert. It does cost some money. But look, we're going to bring that to you, and if you want to engage with it, then that's fine. The other thing that we're going to launch, and this is top of the agenda, is we're going to remove WebLion. We're going to bring in Solution Builder. Now, the idea there is that we get it out as soon as we can. We're talking late summer, autumn. I put it this way, I'm hoping that the leaves are still on the trees when this thing launches. That's my sort of thing. In 2024. So that's what we're all working towards. But look, we're on a massive journey together. I now run a protection peer group where we all sit down and we look at stuff that's coming down the track and they can influence and help. But the very last slide I've got, and I think, have I gone over? Is this gone red? Because I've got 21 seconds. This is a problem. So last year, do you realize, maybe you didn't, but you will when I click the clicker. I'm clicking it again. I'm now clicking the clicker. Is anybody still there? Oh, there we are. Look, here we are. £20 million is the amount that we paid out last year to customers of Mortgage Advice Bureau, of MAB. That's the amount of money that we paid out, £20 million. It's over 20 million. It's pushing 21 million. I asked all the providers to tell me that's for life and CI only. When you consider in 2017, what we actually collected in terms of new business was 16 million in new business premium income coming in. It puts in perspective how much has just been paid out. It's incredible. These are real people that are being helped. And I want to show you now a customer of Monica Bradley who fairly recently lost, well, let me play it on the screen because I want to leave the last word really with real customers and Monica, who are doing a great job by making sure that their customers and her customers are being looked after. Let's have a look at this video.
My mum was just a really, really warm person. She was a people person. She absolutely loved her kids and just wanted to make sure we were always okay. I really, really didn't see it coming. She was diagnosed with a form of bowel cancer, and unfortunately the cancer really took hold and was very aggressive, and it spread to her liver very, very quickly. She went in on Boxing Day and passed away in March. So important that you look after yourself, you look after the people around you. The only way you can ensure that's going to happen is by getting the right cover. If anything happens to me, you know, my family will be looked after, they will be covered, and that's exactly the same thing that my mum did, and it all came from the right advice, from the right people, which is essential.
We have an absolute responsibility to talk to them about life assurance and the importance of it, and just to make them aware, because that is the problem. So many people aren't aware of what happens in the event of these unforeseen circumstances happening to either one of their family or their loved ones.
Being able to go to one firm and know that they have everything in order, that you are paying the right amount of money, you're not being ripped off, you've got the right cover, it's a necessity. It's not even worth thinking about if we didn't have the life insurance policy. I don't know what would have happened. We would have had to have found the money to pay off any debts. It would have been a completely different story. My mum would be so happy and thrilled, knowing that she was able to contribute, you know, even when she's not here, she was able to make sure that we were okay.
Monica Bradley cares, and many of you in this room do care, and many of you don't, because this is about the money, this is about my job, I don't really care. But you know something? I don't care whether you do care. Look like you do. Look like you do and act like you do. If it is just about the money, it's just about a job, I don't really care what happens to them. I'm selling the mortgage, I'm moving on. Don't. Pretend that you care, look like you care, act like you care, and we will ensure that the hundreds of thousands of people that we're arranging debt for will be looked after, because as we said earlier, life is a gamble. And when every one of us throws a dice, we need to make sure that we're there for them, as we were for Gemma, to make sure that they're not kicked out of their home and that the children and everybody are looked after. Who are we to say, I'm moving on to the next customer and just ignoring those situations? Thank you very, very much for listening.